Hey friends. So today we're just jumping on here a few minutes to discuss episode 5 and 6 of The Chosen live stream that has been going on this week, leading up to the release of episode 1, season 2 in the Chosen app. So if you're watching this, hopefully you've already watched episode 5 and 6 tonight. If not, we are leaving that up on our page to be seen at your convenience. So, another easy way again to watch is download the Chosen app in the App Store and watch all the episodes right there. And you can also see the premiere of season 2, episode 1 in that app on Sunday night, Eastern time, 8 p.m. on Easter evening. That's a lot of Easters. Anyway, so I did a goof last night when I was sharing this about episode 3 and 4. I was actually talking about some of the things in episode 5. I did not mean to do that. It had been a minute since I had seen those episodes, so I got those kind of intertwined. But episode 5 is the wedding of Cana that Jesus attended with his disciples. And so we'll discuss a few things here that maybe we didn't last night. First of all, his entrance to the wedding, when he gives a great big old bear hug to his mom. Gotta love that. And picks her up and shows his affection. That's just a very sweet portrayal there of the relationship, he had to have with his mom. Just a glimpse into that. Part of his Son of Man, humanity role. And just the interaction. I love that when the wedding is going on and it's showing everyone at the tables, Jesus is actually sitting at the table with the children's table, and he's telling stories and having fun with them. So I love that about this episode, as well as the miracle, of course, of the water into wine. Jesus caring and stepping up and doing something miraculous for this wedding family, the bride and groom's families, the groom especially, this and his parents. This would have been a great big deal of humiliation for them if they had run out of wine. And the directors and writers choose to introduce Thomas in this episode, which I thought fit very well for the storyline part of this episode. And so we loved getting introduced to Thomas and his little friend that helped him from the winery. And just a beautiful depiction of the joy from a wedding. And again, Jesus attended this wedding. We should invite Jesus into our marriages and our homes. He should be center and focal in that relationship, first and foremost. Again, he has a special, enduring love for the church, his bride, and so a lot of symbolic things I think we could glean from that if we look a little deeper into that reflection. And I thought it was just a great episode, and I hope that you like that as well. Also, just skipping ahead a little bit, since we discussed a little bit of episode 5 last night already, into the episode 6, the leper, and what it must have been like for a leper. We see the leprous man going into the shop and trying to cover himself and to sell the last thing that he had, and just how people would have reacted, because they were to honestly be separated from everybody, the town, any civil functions or events, their families. They were to live in leprous camps or without the camp. And if they were to approach anyone, they were to stay so many feet away. They were to declare themselves unclean. They were to, go through the streets declaring unclean, unclean, and just can you imagine, how that would have made you feel to have been a leper? It was just basically a death sentence, and you were just basically ostracized away from society to await death. And there was no hope. There was no life for you as a leper to be included. Um, so you were just so on your own. And, that just reminds us of the great picture of sin and how it separates us from God and fellowship and communion with Him. Leprosy was just a great depiction of, the death sentence to our soul of sin and separation from God. And so that has a twofold meaning. Physically, they were, outcast from society. Spiritually, we were strangers and alienated from God until, redemption, healing through Christ Jesus, our salvation, our healer. Spiritually, this man's healer, also physically. Jesus was his only hope. There was no other there was no other chance for him to be healed other than a miracle from God. And he heard the message and believed. The storyline goes that, a lady also witnesses his healing along the roadway there where this takes place. And then she in turn goes and finds a friend who has been paralyzed since birth, and they introduce the miracle in scriptures of the paralytic being healed, where the four bear him up on the roof and let him down, and Jesus miraculously heals him. And I just love the beauty of how that is portrayed and brought to life. You see our shy, curious truth seeker Matthew um, trying to learn more about this Jesus, and climbing up on the roof with the children. And I love Matthew, how he just forgets himself for a moment and he's reaching over into the children's fruit bowl and eating the fruit as he's watching this unfold, and totally out of his character. And we see, the little children there again, of course, and we see just how the crowd gathers. We see Nicodemus there witnessing firsthand, and the miracle of the paralytic, getting up, and just how they shoot that scene, and how that all comes together. The music, everything, the score was just perfect. As he walks out of the house, as he walks by Nicodemus, and Nicodemus is just in awe, and he's like, what is this? Who is this man? I need to know more of him. And then you see Matthew ending up there in that back porch alleyway, and Jesus, leaving with his disciples. But then at the last minute, Jesus just turns around and gives Matthew this look, and Matthew's given Jesus this look. And a lot of times Matthew's not wanting to make eye contact with people, but when it comes to Jesus, his eyes is always on him, and he's just longing. And you just feel that anticipation, like, what about me? What about me, Jesus? And Jesus is giving him that look, and you're just bursting to want to hear Jesus say to Matthew, follow me. And I promise it's coming. It's coming. Tune in tomorrow night, I believe, episodes 7 and 8. I believe is one of those episodes that you won't want to miss, because it's all building up to those things. But that's just a great moment there when Jesus looks at Matthew, and you're just feeling what Matthew would have wanted and longed for, which would have been to be included, to be called. Another thing we haven't discussed is, in that day and time, for a rabbi, which is a teacher, um, such as were in the Sanhedrin, and prophets, and great teachers, men of authority, when they would choose their disciples or students, that was a great honor. And they would choose the best of the best, the smartest of the smartest, to sit at their feet and learn. And so when Jesus, we see Andrew there, in episode 4, uh, calling him rabbi when he got off the boat. In other words, teacher. Um, just and when the two disciples had showed up at Mary's house for Shabbat, they said to her, we're students of Jesus. And so Jesus chose these men who, for society's outlook, they were not learned men. You either, if you weren't smart enough to, be chosen to be one of the scholars, students in that day, then you wouldn't be able to further your education. You would learn a trade. You would go to like a trade school, or you would learn maybe your parents' trade or a relative's trade. So that's kind of what category Simon Peter and the disciples were all in. They had a trade, a profession. So of course, even though some of them were very smart people, Matthew, he's a great mathematical guy. We know Luke, one of the disciples, was a physician. So these were intelligent people, but they all had a profession, a trade. They were not just students of the law, or students of a certain teacher. They had not been called or chosen. But then Jesus comes along, and these so-called, ordinary fishermen, outcast, scandalous, looked upon person such as a tax collector being called, just unheard of. But what an honor to those who felt like they would never be called or chosen for such a task, or for such a high, honor as to sit not only under any teacher, but the teacher of teachers, the teacher, Jesus, the Son of God. He came along and chose them, and hallelujah, he done the same for us. He came and into our lives and made himself known to us, and gave us that great invitation to follow him. And so I hope that you have accepted that invitation today. I hope that you are following him. Maybe if you haven't been, maybe if you have been chosen and you have been saved and transformed, by his blood and his redemption, but maybe you just haven't been following lately. Maybe you have gotten discouraged or hurt or whatever might have happened. Maybe you're just not able to do what you once did, and you don't feel included. Maybe you aren't even physically able to attend a house of worship somewhere, or maybe do what you once did, but there's still a job for you, and Jesus still says today, follow me. He has a place for you. He has a place for all of us. There's none of us that do not have a place with him, or a seat in his kingdom, or a role to fill. If it's just a prayer warrior, or if it's just that the only thing you can do is reach out to somebody over the phone, or share something inspirational on the internet. You have a role, and don't underestimate it, because God can take what we seem to call little things and do great big things with it. And as one of the phrases in the from Dallas, the director of The Chosen, he said, it's not my job to feed the 5,000, it's just to provide the loaves and fish. So just bring him your loaves and fish, whatever it might be. That seemed like a very insignificant thing to have in a crowd of over 5,000 people on the mountain that day, was that little boy's lunch. But look what Jesus could do with it. So just bring it to him, and he will use it, and he will honor it in a way that you could have never thought possible. Anyway, hope you enjoyed tonight's stream, and hope you enjoyed this little reflection video discussion. We welcome your thoughts. We're happy that you're watching The Chosen. We encourage you to share it with other people. Share it on your Facebook wall or your social media. Invite others who may not know Jesus to watch it. Maybe give them a gift of a DVD, whatever God might lay on your heart to do. It will not be in vain. So be blessed, and we'll talk to you hopefully again tomorrow night. Bye.